Hi, I'm Mark Auslander, the director of the Master's Program in Cultural Production at Brandeis University. One of the exciting things about the Cultural Production program is this space here, the Schwartz Gallery, which is an experimental gallery that's primarily used by graduate students in the Cultural Production program to develop innovative exhibitions and installations. We're delighted that this semester, Nadia Hemady, who's a student in the Cultural Production program, has developed a new exhibition called Hello, Llama, which she's going to tell us a little bit about today and take us on a tour of. So Nadia, we're going to turn it over to you.
Hello.
Hi. What's the name of the exhibition?
The name of the exhibition is Hello, Llama. She's an imaginary living being. And it refers to me because I am the llama.
You are the llama.
I am the llama.
So the exhibition is, in a sense, about you?
It's about me and the dolls, and about how the dolls represent, well, the self. The ace is they're my dolls, it's me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating thing about dolls. They're both the self and, yes, not the self.
Yeah, I mean, well, at least in the ball-jointed doll culture, because you have a lot of people who are coming in, you know, women who are coming in and they played with dolls when they were kids. Some of them didn't, but many of them are coming in and they kind of treat the dolls as their kids. They call them their kids, and they refer to their dolls as a group, as a doll family. But there's not really a mommy and daddy in doll families, just they're all children.
The dolls like Peter Pan never grow up.
I guess so, even if they're like old people dolls.
Right. So does the show start down here? Is that where you
yes.
started?
It intended to start down here, but it was a little different before. There was this, it was supposed to represent the dream I had. This isn't really a dream that I had ever. Before there was a woman in there with huge goat hooves, and this was a nightmare I had when I was a little kid, and the little children were scared. But I guess they got rid of her, and now they're having a party. So
to celebrate the close of the exhibition?
Yeah. And, you know, the end of the semester.
All that. So the dolls get together.
Yeah.
What about the background painting? Is that part of the initial nightmare dream that inspires the show?
Yeah, and I think it also just represents my attitude towards my dreams, which are this kind of skewed version of my daily life, where everything's kind of upside down and a little bit horrifying, so I'm very horrified by it. But it's kind of interesting, and I like it.
Each one of these dolls has a particular history and story. Is that right?
Oh, well, the countries give them a story. Okay. And sometimes the owner accepts that story or rejects it. Or sometimes they don't give them a story at all. But the dolls have stories behind them in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, they travel. Sometimes one person will own a doll, they'll give the doll a story, then they'll sell the doll to someone else, and the person will make a new story about the doll. Sometimes changing the features of the doll completely. It's actually really interesting. If you were to follow, well, all my dolls, with a few exceptions, I purchase directly from the dealer, and I don't sell. But some of them, like this fellow right here, I bought him from someone, so I don't know if she had a story in mind for him and he didn't work out, or if she bought him because she thought he was cute. Or I think he actually came with another doll, so maybe he wanted the other doll with him.
Right. So it's interesting thinking of each of these dolls sort of streaming behind herself. A series of narratives, some of which are known to the current owner, some of which aren't, but just be sort of echoes and so forth. If we start on the left, this is one of the most famous figures in the whole jointed world.
Oh, yes. Yes. The Aaron.
Yeah.
The Aaron. He's known as the Aaron. And he's the only African, well, he's African Korean. I can't even call him African American. But the only doll who has that dark of skin color who is a male. There are, I think, maybe 2 dark-skinned females. But Aaron is the only dark-skinned male, so he has that I'm a collector, so I like to collect things that are rare. But also because if you read the story on the page, it mentioned that he was an anthropologist. I want to be an anthropologist, so I was like, oh, we have so much in common.
Right. So Aaron is a very accomplished fellow.
Oh, yes.
Official governor, I think.
Yes. And he's letting loose for a brief moment. Usually he's very uptight.
So how's your Aaron a little bit different from the standard Aaron that we read about online, for example?
Yeah, my Aaron, sometimes I like to dress him up as a pirate. And sometimes I like to dress him up as a magical girl. I'm trying to get him some other identities because I think that if you look at American media, the image of the black male is a very limited image. You don't see, you know, maybe there are one or two, possibly three images that go along with that, and I think that there need to be more. So I've been trying to play around with that a little bit.
And dolls are interesting for many reasons, including cross-dressing possibilities. This is true for children, and this continues, and as an artist, you're still working with that, I see. Like, this doll right here, this little one, that's a girl, but I can't help but see it as a little boy. I don't know, and I'm not the only one. I mean, independent took me, other people have said, oh, it's a little 5-year-old boy. I'm like, no, it's not. Then they're like, no, it is. Okay. Right. So as we move from the party, and it's good that they're all together now.
Oh, yes.
So we have here the central case. I remember some of them used to be underneath it, looking up
Yeah.
with a certain degree of anxiety at that black helicopter.
Yes, the helicopter is, well, this whole case, it was called Trapped, and it was a representation of my fears and anxieties, which I think is sort of embodied in this black helicopter and the sort of craggy-looking landscape, I guess, of the cut-out torn boards at the bottom. But originally I had the idea that the dolls were going to be writing help on it, or H-E-L, and it wasn't really clear what they were writing, but I never actually ended up getting around to doing that. So because of that, and because if you look at the doll faces, they're kind of smiling, they don't look that anxious. So I decided that maybe they weren't really upset, maybe they were kind of curious. At one point I had one of them standing on the other's shoulder, trying to touch it, and then I decided, well, you know, they're little boys, they're energetic and mischievous, so they would naturally escape. So there was actually a rope dangling from here that I made out of napkins, and then they went into some of the other cases.
So the dolls went around various
Yeah.
ways.
And now my fears are all a little